actually, the music was inspired by the film. So
Okay.
the film was the genesis.
Okay.
And the idea, the story was inspired by an incident that had happened to me a couple of years ago, loosely inspired. And, I went through something a little traumatic, performing and losing my voice in front of 80,000 people. And then quickly found out that it wasn't a physical injury, but a psychological injury. And yeah, that ended up kind of being the foundation of the tone of the film, really psychological. Honestly, it never really felt like I was playing myself. When I pitched the idea to Trey, I asked him if he can see himself in the script, and that was really important for us. So, I was lucky enough for him to accept it, and we kind of traded traumas, and it was kind of like a therapy session between us, and it ended up being an actual fictional character, loosely based on, a reality, but the film felt like a character I had to study and understand and kind of just put on this costume and then by the end of it, take it off. But it was cathartic. It did feel personal, but I didn't feel like I was playing myself.
I think she represents the feminine piece of Abel's brain, kind of a bit that maybe his musical persona doesn't touch on as much, but is still obviously a huge part of any individual. Annie is very emotional and sensitive and in tune with Abel, and she sees that she's hurting, and she's hurting too because of him, so it's this weird kind of intertwined, almost persona-esque, just two becoming one, or two are already one. So it's definitely, her piece is strictly psychological, I would say.
What drew me to the story was meeting Abel and hearing what happened to him and his ideas for this movie and liking the guy, just like really hitting it off and feeling connected to him. And then, yeah, I just got crazy inspired. I think too, playing with subjectivity and headspace and what's real and what's not and dream logic, that was all very exciting because I already make subjective films, and every choice I make in a movie is to put the audience in the main character's headspace and make them feel how they feel. So I think you can naturally push things far if that's being honest to their headspace and emotion and soul in the film. So I think all of those things kind of came together and got me really, really excited about this. For me, it was just really organic. I said it earlier, but like it just started with meeting each other, liking each other, hitting it off, and having like-minded taste and like-minded ideas and supporting those ideas and building it up. So it started at the writing stage and it just pushed that way through production and post and everything. And I don't know, I just love to, I said it earlier, but like Abel's like me, like he doesn't want to just like settle for something, like let's just settle for the first version or like he wants to push and push and push and make something the best it can be. And that went from his character, it went to the film, it went to the music, it went to everything we did together. So yeah,
no, that's a good point. Honestly, I felt like we were challenging each other, and the whole time I'm thinking, well, we're making something experimental, something ambitious, that hopefully this can challenge the audience. And it just, it's just what it felt like. It just felt like we were pushing each other, and Jenna was pushing, and it just felt like a real, giant therapy session in the best way possible.
Everybody was just so innovative and creative, and a lot of the shots that we were doing were unlike anything I've ever done before, so it just was incredibly exciting and thrilling. And Abel was so vulnerable in this film. It was so easy to work alongside of him because, I don't know, it's just, it was a good, fortunate connection thing where I didn't really feel like we had to struggle with any sort of chemistry. He's just a very warm person, and it was easy and it was good, and it was, I'm really grateful for that time.
Yes, vice versa, same thing, of course. But again, she is a master at her craft, and I was kind of like a, little amateur actor. So what I noticed about her is that she's really patient, very patient, and cares about the scene, cares about my performance just as much as her own performance. And she cares about the writing, and she had incredible ideas, and it just really felt like a really, truly honest collaboration. That's what it really felt like. It felt like this was all of us. Yeah. I was a huge fan of Trey's for a while.
I don't know where to go.
Sorry. No, I was a huge fan of Trey's work for years, and especially his film Waves. It was very it wasn't a musical, but it was very musical.
Yeah.
Music was such a important character. So when Reza and I were coming up with the concept, the only person we could think of the entire time was Trey, because I knew I can trust him with music.
Yeah.
And the music in our film is such a massive character that we were able to, adjust it. I could send him demos, rough ideas, unfinished records, references that he would implement into the script. And another, cheat code with Trey is that he's an editor. So he's already hearing and seeing how the film's gonna look. So there was a lot of trust there. I can focus on being in front of the camera and later on working on the music and him implementing it masterfully.
Thank you.
You're a genius.
But I agree, and I just love the way Abel handled it, because he didn't come to me and he was like, "Here's my album, now make a movie out of
No.
it." It was organic. He got that right from the get-go, and it was always organic. And after our first meeting, we got on the phone. He sent me some music, rough demos and stuff, and creative juices started flowing. And then the whole process kept going that way to where, I feel like integrating a movie and an album could be a gimmicky, forced thing, but it never became that. It was always organic, and each bounced off of each other and evolved together in a fluid, beautiful way. So yeah, I was just grateful for getting to do it that way. It was a very special experience.
That was a great experience. It was a joy.
For me, I like going on a ride with a movie. You know what I mean? I like when a movie's evolving in front of me, and I can't necessarily, I don't know where it's going. It's not spoon feeding me. So that from the get-go, I just like going on a journey with a movie and discovering new stuff as it's happening. And I think molding all of that together in an organic way and not letting it be sloppy is being honest to the main characters, being honest to their soul and their perspective and their headspace, and you stay true to that and ride that, and to me, hopefully, you get a very special experience.
I don't know what I hope that they're feeling, but I truly can say from the friends and family that have seen it, from my experience working on it, anybody that I know that have seen this film, while their lifestyles or their lives or their experiences may be very different to Abel's, they can't help but resonate with that feeling. And we all know what it's like to feel lost. We all know what it's like to be scared of the future, to lose trust within yourself very quickly. So it's a very emotional film, and I hope that people are able to resonate with that side of themselves and allow themselves to, kind of open up and open up to the film.
So it came from an incident that happened where I lost my voice publicly in front of a stadium, and slowly finding out that it wasn't a vocal injury in any way, that was a big fear of mine, but something that was going on in here that I had to just park the brakes and just relax and figure out what's going on in my life, and yeah, it came from that, and then it turned into something therapeutic and cathartic. And while I was writing the ideas, the only person I can really think of was Trey, because I just saw how emotional and personal his films were, and so then I pitched the idea to him, and luckily he connected with it, and we connected with each other, which was probably the most important thing. And we got right to it. I mean, it didn't take too long, I think, right? It was
quick,
a few months. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, like Abel said, first I liked him. I liked the guy. Like, we connected. He was good vibes. We had similar taste. It's just, you feel it when you meet someone you dig. It was like, okay, cool, and that caught me by surprise, I'm not gonna lie. And then after that, I think what I was really excited by is, again, like the fact that he wanted to start from like one of the most vulnerable places, like one of the worst things that's happened to him professionally, and kind of analyze that and have that as a jumping off point. I was like, ooh, where else could we take this? This is really exciting. And the fact that it wasn't literally his vocal cords, but it was psychological. Like, to me, that's a lot of runway cinematically to do something exciting. and to like interrogate and have richer, deeper themes and all of that connected. And yeah, for whatever, it's basically that happened, hit it off, the light bulb went off. You know, I got crazy inspired, and
I wanted you to just go, like, you could throw me any ideas. I'm like, let's do it. I didn't want to handcuff you to anything.
You were down, like everything that was like bold and exciting and different that I was really excited by. He was down for. That was also surprising and awesome. And it became one of the most best, beautiful experiences making a film so far. You know.
Again, like I feel like I really want to hit the nail on the head on this one. Like, this film was never going to be about celebrity culture for me. It dealt with a celebrity, but I think Trey helped me make it as human as possible. You know.
Yeah.
So I think that was number one for me. I wanted to make sure that the audience could connect with that person and feel the pressure he's dealing with, and maybe connect with the pressure that they deal with every day. You know, whether, you know, but.
Yeah, I think too, for me, like on a, you know, I'm attracted to interesting character studies where almost like the character can be their own worst enemy and they got to wrestle their own demons and wrestle their own side. That's something I've had throughout my life, and I think it can make for compelling cinema. So I think that as a basis was really exciting, but then also, you know, I wanted the movie to work in two levels, and if you want to interpret it in a certain way, you know, maybe Jenna and Barry's characters are actually, you know, a part of you, and maybe there's this whole dream analysis side running through the film. So
I think it was really important for us because that was never going to be a gotcha moment, right?
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
I think the way he was filming the movie, right away when you're watching it, it feels very subjective. Like you're in the character's head, and it's kind of allowing the audience to come up with their own conclusion of that's what it is. It's not about are they the same people or not. It's just about going on this journey and seeing somebody face their issues and heal from it ultimately.
Exactly. And my parents are both therapists, so like the idea of just like a movie that's ultimately really about self-reflection, like having to face yourself to grow as a human. It's just a compelling, rich thing for me thematically. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing I will say, I don't think I said this already, but we've spoken about all the time, but we wanted to kind of see the process of a song kind of being made psychologically, you know, not me actually making the song, but seeing how like these lyrics and these concepts come to life, and the themes come to life. So that, you know, that played a big part of it. I always use that Robert Altman Long Goodbye as a reference for this just one song you hear throughout the entire film, and you hear different iterations of it, like a pop version on the radio, or it's embedded in the score, or you know, he goes to Mexico and it's like this mariachi band playing it, and it's just, you hear the same song, you don't really hear the original. And I think for us, it's like you hear DNA of the song being made from the genesis at the top of the film, and by the time you get to the end, you hear this melody and you're like, oh wow, this is the song that we've been hearing in the score throughout the entire film. And finally it reveals itself at the end, and it tells the story ultimately of what the film's about.
Yeah, so it's like literally, the music at times is literally involved in the narrative. And I think from my perspective too, like my movie prior to this, Waves had, you know, it had score and it had soundtrack, and the way the whole spirit and heart of that movie ebbed and flowed was so connected to that music. So to kind of do this new project that has a similar DNA but kind of takes it further, like in a sense to where like the score is huge for this, but the people doing the score are also creating this album, and at times if we organically create a song that just works in the movie, but then also in that album we can have, Abel did this beautifully, like a song where it's explaining, the lyrics are saying what's inside a character's head in a scene, you know? So like I was just like, what a fun, creative, different, rich experience for anyone that wants to dabble with both of them. I was just really excited, and to me it seemed really fresh and different, you know?
Ooh, I mean, it's not so black and white, you know? I feel like it's such an interesting film. When you watch the film, you don't realize by the end of it, it's just three actors. Yeah. It's like almost like a play. Yeah. And they're all kind of playing different roles and kind of switching each other's roles. So it's, I don't want to give away too much, but you know, it is psychological and it is subjective, but there's also there's two storylines being told at the same time. You have the linear one on the surface where I think people will connect to, and then by the end of it, make you come back and be like, oh, there's a whole other storyline happening.
Yeah.
And not to give away too much, but Trey had it all written down in the script. We just didn't spoon feed it to the audience, but it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun experiences. Oh yeah. No, it was what was fun about it, I'll say, was I got to work with. It felt like a family, you know. Felt like we were able to be vulnerable and take each other as far as emotionally can, and being safe with my scene partners anyway. So that's the most fun I feel from it. The rest of it, I mean, it's heavy. It's heavy material, and I think the fun came after. I think it was like watching, wrapping the film, hugging it out with everyone, and then Trey presenting it, presenting the first cut, and just being absolutely blown away by it. So that's the first thing that kind of pops up in my head. The rest, I kind of.
You're just in it?
I was in it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had very much fun.
Yeah.
I
I will say.
Yeah.
Let me add something, and this is my favorite thing about you. Very non-intrusive as a director. I like to call him like a cat. He's just like, you never know where Trey's gonna be during a scene. He's either like in a bathtub or like hiding under the table, and
little monitor.
Yeah, so I think the most fun for me is when a scene is cut and we're just like looking for Trey. And he's like upside down with the monitor. But yeah, that's a testament to him just kind of staying out the way and being in the scene too.
Yeah,
right?
literally. I don't know why. I never go to Video Village. I never watch I like literally living on the set somewhere with you guys. And I don't know why it makes me like it puts me in the scene. You know?
Yeah, you feel it. You feel the scene.
The third act of the film is like all at the hotel, and like the first scene we shot with Jenna, I got like under the sink in the bathroom because there's no space. But then that became my lucky good juju spot. Yeah. And then for the rest of the filming, I was just under the sink.
Just connecting, touching them in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know how literal, but it's just like it needs to. I think they'll leave feeling something, whether they love it or hate it. They'll definitely feel something, and it's such a singular vision that Trey's telling that it's just unapologetically original and fresh, and I don't think there's anything like it out there right now.
That was the dream, and I mean, I hope people go on the ride with it. I hope they go on the ride with it and they're affected by it, and then really want to talk about it right after. Like, what did we just go through?
Conversation.
There's a lot
key,
to talk about. So
that's what I miss about going to the movies. Is like you watch a movie that whether you love it or hate it, you could just talk about it after. And I think this film is definitely a conversation piece.
It's a goal.